Being after 7 o'clock, we will call the March 11th meeting to order, and we will start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have approval of minutes for January 14th.
Moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. Small project, NACC number 138, Friends of North Andover Trails.
It was Al, seconded by Deb.
Come on, Donna, let's keep with the program here.
I didn't have a front page.
So I'm sorry, for some reason, the Friends of North Andover Trails document won't load, but you all have it, so.
Yeah.
Tom's here to,
We just want to do the same thing we've been doing for the past 5 years, maintain the trails. We've had success with that, and we'd like to keep doing the same work. And they're all the same trails except for we got a couple of new ones. We just added the around the Sear Recycle Center and on Boston Hill.
Any questions, Al?
I have no questions.
I don't know. Deb?
All set.
Chad?
Is the Woodchuck Hill reservation one of these? It's not, I don't think it's in the stack.
I think currently the trail is all on Greenbelt land, right?
No, it's
No.
Harold
Oh.
Parker.
The Woodchuck Hill?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we have some of the, we own some of the
Oh, okay.
land.
Jack, the Woodchuck Hill, is that the trail that comes in from
Top of Mollytown.
Mollytown?
Yes.
The old Mollytown Trail?
Right.
I
Yes,
wasn't aware that that trail was,
Yeah, Boy Scouts built the trail there.
is it?
Oh,
I wasn't aware it was operational.
It's a loop trail. Yeah, they completed it.
Good one?
Yeah.
Good trail?
Yeah.
That should have been added to that. I guess it's an oversight.
Yeah, because
Oh,
I've...
Woodchuck Hill, I was thinking the Bruin Hill one, that's the one we've been
the
talking
Bruin
about.
House, the
Yeah.
new one.
Yeah,
The Wood-
Woodchuck is, what's the name of that, Fox Run or something like that? Fox,
Top of hill.
Foxwoods?
yeah, up the top of Foxwood or
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just down below the hill. isn't it?
At the base?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I gotcha.
Yeah, the map's on the website. I was just wondering why it's not in the proposal.
Just that one, I guess.
Okay. Does the Friends maintain that trail?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Because it gets a lot of traffic. How's things with the Boston Hill, the new trail there with the boardwalk and,
That came out good.
are there many hikers that go up there? A lot of bikers, I know.
Well, from that side, not so many yet,
Not so
I
many.
think, because not as many people know about that one yet.
It's a little remote too, isn't it?
Mhm.
Okay. I think you're doing a great job, by the way.
Thank you.
Thanks for your help. No more questions. Oh, how long is this for?
5 years.
5 years.
So we're voting on a 5-year VMP.
Right, small project. I think, do we do it as a J? You guys have it in
So
front of
we
you.
have to first, I think the first motion has to establish it and recognize it as a small project. Under, do we have to give it a
Yeah, it has a number, I just,
off the bylaw, we have to tell where it fits?
Say it's a J.
I would just say J, because there's a vegetation one, but,
All right, so I'll move it as I move that we authorize a small project,
they did G and J, I'm sorry.
okay, under subsections G and J.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous.
And then secondly, I will move that we authorize the work on the NACC 138 VMP for 5 years.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
The only condition I would put on that is that they notify us before they begin work, but you always do.
I always do.
Yep.
Yeah. Next order of business is a RDA for 94 Flagship Drive.
All right, this needs to be read. And we just got new full-size plans tonight, but I believe you guys have some smaller ones.
Pursuant to the authority of the Wetlands Protection Act, Massachusetts General Law, the North Andover Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, March 11th, 2015 at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall Meeting Room, second floor, located at 120 Main Street, North Andover, Mass., for the filing of a request for determination of applicability by applicant Nova Flagship LLC to alter land at 94 Flagship Drive, map 107C, parcel 77, North Andover, Massachusetts, for the purpose of removal of 2,100 square feet of pavement within the buffer zone to an isolated vegetated wetland. Plans are available at the Conservation Office, 1600 Osgood Street, Suite 2035, by Louis Napoli, Chairman.
Thanks, Sharon.
This is a fairly simple project. It's in front of the planning board under site plan review for some work outside of jurisdiction. As part of that, they're proposing to remove some pavement, and I'll let their consultant, Mark West, explain that to you.
Good evening. I flagged the wetlands on the site, and Steve Webster is here, who's sort of leading the project. This drawing over here in the orange and yellow includes areas where they are creating new pervious area to allow for truck access and a moved dock, and they're renovating the inside of the building. If there's questions about that, Steve knows more about it. They're also doing some catch basin work. All of that's out of jurisdiction, but down in the green, in order to balance out the loss of, or the increased impervious, they're removing part of the parking lot. So pavement's being removed and it's being loamed and seeded. There is a fence at the between the edge of the parking lot and the wetland area, which is a small isolated wetland area, but Jennifer also asked that we post the edge of the woodland with signs, and so that was added to the plans.
I think having been out there, it's probably easiest just to mark the fence, too, I would think.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about the fence.
Just, hey, Mark, just the numbers, what's this? Just 2,100 square feet on the replication area? 2,100 square feet, am I reading that right?
2,100, well, actually, the notes on up here at the top, there's 2,300 of additional impervious surface and 2,350 of pervious. So I think we're doing a little more work than maybe was listed there.
Okay.
But all of it's just removing pavement, loam and seed.
Gotcha. I was just trying to get the ratio, so we're talking about basically 1 for 1.
Yeah, a little increase in pervious, that's
Okay.
all.
Very good, thank you.
Mark, on the plan, you have some landscape trees. Are those already there, or are you putting those in the back? That's
Up in
existing?
here?
That's all existing?
That's all in place now, correct? All these trees?
There are some in place that we still may add per the planning board
Okay,
approval. Yeah.
all right. That's all, thank you. Deb?
Are you just planting a lawn where you're taking out the parking lot?
Yes.
Okay, no shrubs or anything like that? Okay, thank you.
Are there any riverfront issues on this lot? There's Mosquito Brook runs in the vicinity. I'm not sure if we're within 200 feet.
I think it's quite a ways.
Across the street, yeah. It's
No.
on the other side of the street than this.
Not within 200 feet?
No, we had that violation, that was on the other side of the street, and they were near it, but this isn't anywhere near it.
No,
I
no.
can't see the wetland out there at this point. It more or less agrees with prior flagging that we have for this site in 1997. The 1997 filing didn't identify it as isolated, but we're not being asked to accept a delineation, and I think at this point, they're just taking out pavement. I don't think it's overly critical.
No more questions? No?
Motion?
What conditions would you envision, John?
I would just say pre-construction inspection to check out if they can do like a silt sock or something between, or trench silt fence between the work and the wetland, and then post-construction inspection once it's grown in.
Okay, I move that we issue a negative determination for 94 Flagship Drive project with pre- and post-construction inspections and possibly requiring silt sock pre-construction in the area of work.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy spring.
But hopefully soon.
I think you put the jinx on it, Mark. haven't you?
Let us know.
Next one is, around here, 244, well, no, that's not the right one. NACC 127, 237, excuse me, Charles Street sanitation.
So on this one, we were waiting to get the Natural Heritage no-take letter, which we did receive. They didn't have any additional comments. So I think we discussed, I told them I didn't think they needed to come this evening because we basically talked about what we needed last meeting. And I was able to draft this, so we should be able to close an issue.
So moved. Any questions?
I have no questions and no problem with closing an issue.
Okay, so we have a motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous.
I'm assuming we don't, I just should check for abutters too. I don't know what everyone's
Oh,
here
are
for
there any
this
butters here
evening.
for the sanitation district?
No, okay.
Okay, next one is 242 1646 1 High Street.
So I don't have any plans on this evening, because I think the discussion last time was more about how to close out one project and start another. Mr. Steinberg's here tonight to talk about that with you, but it is, the pond work is sort of, we discussed it today, time sensitive. They need to do it at a certain point in the season or it won't be effective. And I know they're already working on the COC, so update them on that.
David Steinberg from RCG LLC. So since our last meeting, realizing there's a little bit of a what could be an issue here as far as timing and be able to get in aquatic controls to do the work when most of the problem plant life is in bloom, or starting to go into bloom in the spring. We got back in touch with Mike Howard of Epsilon Associates, who's been our consultant on the order of conditions that dates back several years now, and get the paperwork ready to close out the other order of conditions. The problem we're facing is, obviously, we need the snow to melt so that they can confirm that what we were required to do under the order of conditions as far as restoring the bank and get the existing conditions all inspected and cleared up could be done effectively and still have the time to, have the board clear that and start the work in the pond. So obviously these are sort of two unrelated things, and we're asking to get the work. We sort of thought of it on a different track, and we, have over the years been battling this one corner of the pond to make sure it wasn't being mowed and that the plants had opportunities to grow in. And in some cases, I think we're through the third order of plants to try to get the bank to grow in properly over the course of the years. And so it's in our best interest, we want to close that out. And our concern is just if we take an extra 30 days in April, whether it's snow melt or getting paperwork through, that we'll have lost the opportunity of the whole year, the whole season, to start the treatment of the pond. And there's significant impact on the restaurants, the office tenants, the residents who live around there if we get the same conditions we got last summer as far as the smells that can come out of the pond with the growth that's happening. And I know
What is the window of opportunity for the people to come in? I mean, they probably wouldn't be in there till May anyways, right?
I think they wanted to get in mid-April, from what I recall of aquatic controls. There's things may be delayed as far as the growth of the plant life this year as well, but we don't want to cut it too close and have missed that opportunity. It was really their concern. So they've, been putting pressure on us to get through the other things so they can get in there and clear and do everything on the up and up with you guys. But we're concerned that if we cut it too close, we'll miss it.
Well, if I remember correctly, at the meeting, we did pretty much approve the project.
Yeah, I thought we did.
So, but the problem is they have an open order from the other side, and we didn't want to have two open orders in the same.
There's nothing that says that has to be closed. Unless I have misread the law, and correct me if I'm getting it wrong,
No,
stop me right away.
It's just more policy that we close out one thing before we open another, but these are very unrelated.
That's what I'm getting at. They're unrelated, and I think, did we talk about baseline water testing before you began anything, right? That was part of it?
Yep.
That is part of it, right? So that's, I don't know, to me, that's more important than closing out an order, is to facilitate the baseline water testing. Otherwise, we don't have anything to base any numbers on anyway. I'd rather see that get going. Just my 2 cents, that's all. Just my 2 cents. But, I think I know it's important, I know it's policy, I know we do it. But if it's going to squash the project, is it really that important?
Well, I don't think it's squashed the project, because this project's been approved. I'm just wondering if they still have a window of opportunity to close out and still do it, but not hold up your project. Is it panic time yet?
But
That's what
they can't inspect the plants, like, they're, right
Right,
now under a couple
everybody's in the
feet of
same
snow,
boat.
and, even if, like, by April, are they gonna have leafed out, are we gonna know what's alive or dead? Some of the stuff's herbaceous, it probably won't come up until
So
May.
why, what am I missing? Why are we so anxious to close
No,
up?
I think after having talked to David, I think we should issue and just stay on top of the order of, the
At
closing
the
out.
earliest opportunity,
Right.
cause the other one to close, but
Right, but normally if we didn't have the winter that we had,
yeah,
it would have worked,
things
but
things didn't line up the way they were supposed
the
to.
stars didn't line up.
I don't know,
I think there've been instances where we've had two orders open on the same property.
Well, I think the other thing we do is.
We don't do it often.
we just chase them
We ref-
accordingly, though. We
we
chase
ref-
them as we can.
Right, we reference one and the other. We know typically that there's an open order still on the site.
Yeah.
Right.
We
We want the applicants to perform on their open orders before we issue other ones, but, there are circumstances where we need to have two.
I think
and
that if-
this is one of them.
If we wait till the circumstances permit and we give them a reasonable amount of time to comply, I'm certain they will. I don't know, it's just me.
I agree with you. And with the winter and everything, there were extenuating circumstances, and you probably won't be able to close it out by April. Maybe not even May, but hopefully by
The way
June.
things are going, you're not even going to get the ice out of there until the middle of May.
Do you know when the other one expires?
I don't know.
I think we looked. I think it expires this year. So it's not like they're operating under an expired order. I'm pretty sure it's still.
Yeah, and we'll do whatever push we have to do. We want to get this behind us this spring. We're in our third landscaper since we started trying to do this, so hopefully they'll be able to get it done as well this year. And I know the new order is going to be multi-year as well,
Right.
because they need to come back each spring, I think, for at
We
least
typically do
2
a
or 3
5-year
years.
order on the pond
We did
maintenance.
Stevie's.
We did it at Stevens. We did it
Berry.
at Berry Pond. Yep.
And
So
it just puts us in possession of more bond money in the interim.
that's true.
If you want compliance, the best way to get compliance is to take their money and hold it. So,
Like I said, I don't have, this is different. This is, based on the weather, but.
Yeah, I get it.
It's
I get
nice, it's nice when you don't have, subdivisions with,
Yeah, it's not like they're building something new.
with like 9 different orders,
but I guess that's
That's what it was designed for.
that's
but
what I'm
this is-
thinking here.
And like I said, this one's been tough because this one's been open for a while, right, Jen?
Yes. But it predates me.
All right, well, with the situation, what it is, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
So,
So the motion would be to close an issue in 21 days.
motion?
So
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. Okay, you all set?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next one is 242, no number, Rosemont Drive. Oh, this is the town.
This is the town.
The town.
The town.
Pursuant to the authority of the Wetlands Protection Act, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended, and the North Andover Wetlands Protection Bylaw, the North Andover Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, March 11th, 2015, at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall Meeting Room, second floor, located at 120 Main Street, North Andover, Mass. 01845, for the filing of a notice of intent by North Andover Division of Public Works to alter land at Rosemont Drive and Chestnut Street for the purpose of installation of 2100 an iron water main and appurtenances in Chestnut Street and Rosemont Drive within riverfront area and the buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetland. Plans are available at the Conservation Office, 1600 Osgood Street, Suite 2035, by Louis Napoli, Chairman, NACC.
Thanks, Deb.
Good evening. My name is Tyra McManus. I'm with Weston and Sampson Engineers. I'm here on behalf of the Town of North Andover Division of Public Works. The project under your review this evening would be the work along Chestnut Street. It's a new 12-inch water main running parallel to an existing water main. The purpose of the project is to actually abandon an existing pump station located on Rosemont Drive and connect that area of town with the existing Sutton Hill pump station. The whole purpose of the project really is to abandon a station that's already deteriorated enough that it will need to be more or less fully replaced. And they'll be saving some funding or, well, cost on a monthly basis for just upkeep and general maintenance. So the cost overall is actually cheaper to install a new main versus the general maintenance and improvements needed for the Rosemont station. So we're within the buffer zone. We're also within the riverfront of Mosquito Brook. We will be staying entirely within the paved right-of-way of the street. All of the environmental measures will be contained within the street right away. We're going to have our silt sacks in the catch basins. They will be routinely maintained, as well as filter socks installed along the entire route within the 100-foot buffer zone. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer anything that might be of a concern at this point.
Thank you.
Is this an increase in the size of the pipe? Is it like 10 to 12?
It's a 12-inch. The existing right now is 8-inch.
So it's the installation of a new line parallel to the old line, abandoning the old line.
We're actually keeping the old line. The old line will still link and will serve as a purpose to link the main service.
Okay.
This is actually, the new main is going to be a high service link between Sutton Hill and Rosemont Drive areas.
Gotcha. I'm all set, thanks.
What's the depth of the pipe?
We'll roughly need about 5 feet of cover to stay under the frost line, so with the 12-inch pipe, we'll be about 6 feet deep of a trench.
Okay. And we don't know what the water table is. It's got to be pretty high in that area.
Over by Mosquito Brook, we're anticipating that there might be some, so we do have plans if in case the trench does need to be, dewatered. We do have a dewatering plan. The intent would be to actually start the project about June or July. Obviously, things are going to be shifted with the groundwater table with all the snow, but the intent would be to kind of do it over the summertime when all levels are usually at a low.
Okay. And how long do you figure this project will take?
I'm hoping to have it actually done in a few weeks, but contractors, based on their schedule, it could take up to 2 months, including final paving of the actual trench. And then the town intends to come back over the next few years to do a full curb-to-curb overlay in the area.
Okay. Thank you. Deb?
And what is the length of the water main?
The full length is 2,100 feet from the area Peachtree going all the way up to the pump station. However, the area within the wetland protection area is more about 600 feet or 800 feet, something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Is it a cut and cover construction method?
We intend to pretty much install a length or two of pipe, which are roughly about 18 to 20 feet, depending on the material, the manufacturer, and then we will be basically backfilling, compacting at the end of each day, definitely. And the intent would be to pave at the end of each week.
Okay. What's the depth again?
So we're anticipating roughly 5 feet of cover, so roughly an average depth of 6 feet,
Okay.
bottom of the trench.
And what's going to be the role of the Rosemont pump station after?
The intent is to abandon it permanently.
Abandon that one? Okay. Okay, no more questions?
So if that Rosemont station, when and if it's abandoned, is there then going to be a project to remove it?
The intent right now is to cut off the pipelines and pretty much potentially cut off the top of the station. We're going to remove all equipment, anything that has any oils or anything like that. There's a few pumps in there, obviously. So remove all the equipment. It's a steel can right now, so it's a thin-walled, buried
It's got a
station.
generator there.
The generator is above ground, but yes, and
Generator's
that's
above
all going to
ground.
be removed and
So
kind of brought back to original conditions as best as can.
Is that part of this project?
At this point, it's an alternate to the project. We're not 100% sure on the funding, right, at this point, on how much the town has to appropriate, but at
Do
some
you
point.
anticipate that would require an additional filing then to remove that?
That's outside of the jurisdiction, but
It is?
the station itself is up Rosemont Drive.
Up the drive, okay.
It's at the end of the project, right? So Chestnut Street is the only concerned area within the
Gotcha.
riverfront protection area.
What type of erosion controls are you offering for the protection around Mosquito Brook?
Our intent, well, there is curbing right now, but the intent is to install some siltation stacks in the catch basins as well as the filter stocks along the edge of road.
That's Cape Cod curbs, right?
Yeah, it's, I mean, they're probably destroyed at this point based on plowing, but, we'll see what it looks like when we get out there, but,
Yeah,
you know.
probably busted up.
Actually,
We
when
can
you,
look, we'll have a pre-construction order, conditions, all that. And our orders always contain language that if additional erosion controls are needed, we can request them. Because if there's any, given that they're in pavement, there's not going to be any work on slopes or anything.
Right.
So, but we could have them install some silt fence if needed. But that usually just results in a lot more disturbance than is necessary for this kind of project.
yeah.
Also, it's going to be mosquito, high side should be dry.
Yeah, that section of Mosquito Brook on, across from the swamp, that's one of the stocking points for the Fish and Wildlife.
For Brook Trail.
Yeah, that's one of the drop points right there.
Okay, I'll make
Just-
specific note that.
I doubt that this is going to have anything to do with it, but just for reference,
Yep.
that location and then the location again at Salem and Summer is another location where they drop.
There's a pocket wetland up there on the Peachtree project too that's,
Yeah, but they're not going up Peachtree.
no, I know, but
Oh.
it's down there by where they're
No,
crossing.
that's the detention basin that was just before us when they put those 4 new house lots in. It's not a, it's
This
a,
was a few years ago it went in. It was functioning really well.
It's still
But
there,
it's
and
down by
it's-
that intersection.
yep, right where
Chestnut.
Chestnut and
Yeah.
Ray Street.
Ray.
But it's a detention basin.
Yeah,
Or infiltration basin. It has a 4-bay, and it's a constructed wetland.
yep.
But we'll make sure.
Yes.
Again, there's sidewalk and curbing there, too,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
It seems to
absolutely.
handle a lot of water and it functions very well.
It handles, it does function, it was definitely constructed as part of that project.
Any more questions? We have to continue anyways, right? 'Cause there's-
On this one?
Yeah, we have to-
We have no DEP number?
Right.
Oh, boy,
But,
okay.
but we can draft, if there aren't any other concerns, I'll draft an order.
Move to continue Rosemont Drive and Chestnut Street.
I don't think anybody's here. No. Okay.
Second.
Second, third.
All those in favor say aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, next one is 242-1647, 172 Summer Street.
This needs to be read also, doesn't it?
Yeah. You're back.
Pursuant to the authority of the Wetlands Protection Act, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and as amended, and the North Andover Wetlands Protection Bylaw, the North Andover Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, March 11, 2015, at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall Meeting Room, second floor, located at 120 Main Street, North Andover, Mass., for the filing of a notice of intent by applicant James D'Angelo to alter land at 172 Summer Street, map 38, parcel 334, for the purpose of construction of a driveway and garage within the buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetlands. Plans are available at the Conservation Office, 1600 Osgood Street, Suite 2035, by Louis Napoli, Chairman.
Thanks, Jack.
So I put a plan in front of you that shows the parcel. Although the address is 172 Summer Street, the work is actually on the Mollytown side of the property. And Mr. D'Angelo's here to present his project.
Good evening.
Oh, I'm sorry, do you have your green cards or your proof of mailing? Or you already sent it?
Yeah,
I got
I
it.
think that
Good to go.
Phil Christensen took care of that for me. Thank you, Jennifer. Good evening, my name is Jim D'Angelo. I'm the owner of 172 Summer Street, along with my wife, Linda. And my lot is an unusual 3-acre lot that has frontage on Summer Street, but also has frontage on Mollytown Road. And what you see up on the plans there are our intent to construct a garage and storage area off of Mollytown Road, and with the driveway and the building located outside of the 50-foot no-build area, but the disturbance is within the 50 to 100-foot area. Summaries of those square footages were included in my application, and I'm here to answer any questions that you might have about my intent.
I think the major problem at the moment is I wasn't able to review the wetland line because of the snow. So we've been on the site together before, but it wasn't flagged at that time, so.
I did have the flags redone and repicked up by Christian and Sergi.
Right, but
you
typically the
didn't wa-
commission has me review those.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think we're getting toward a point when we might be able to review them, but I think at this very moment, we can't.
Any, Jen, any information on any vernal or ephemeral pools in the area there?
There is, and his property has been in front of us before there was some fencing and a pool that was done under an RDA. The vernal pool is on the other side of the property. You can actually
If
see
you
it
pull,
in the
if you pull
photo.
back on that plan, I think I can,
The work is up here, right?
Right, and the vernal pool
Somewhere back here?
is, yeah,
Yeah.
we're looking at it today, but I didn't do a good job of getting that on the plan.
Okay. No, I guess that's just part of her checking the delineation when the snow cover
You
allows.
think, oh, can you see, is that, I don't think the vernal pool is on.
no, but if you pull back, I think that has the, you'll see, there it is. There's the unusual shape of my lot right there.
Oh,
So
right here.
And my house is here, and the vernal pool is sitting back in here.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm good, Mr. Chairman. The only thing I guess was what Jennifer had mentioned on her opening with regard to confirming the flags,
Yeah, I mean, that's,
confirming the line.
okay. Deb,
No questions.
Jack?
Yeah, it looks like all the work's outside of the 50-foot no-build zone with the line in place as shown on the plan, which is favorable project. There's a heavy dotted line that looks like the limit of work. Is that proposed, the location for proposed erosion control?
That's the erosion control and the limit of work
Yeah.
through that whole area. This is stockpile area for when I strip the land for that building. And I just want to put a little patio back there and a little greenhouse off of the back of the building.
I think to Al's question about the vernal pool too, it could potentially change the setbacks, but the vernal pool is at that backside. Along the edge of the property is just a channel.
Yeah.
So the 100 feet from the edge of vernal pool would likely fall somewhere at the back of the property where he's not even proposing work.
I just for a good comfort level,
Yep.
I prefer to have this back in front of me when you can validate
Yep.
the setbacks, and then it looks great.
Just
Well,
out
I
of
won't be
curiosity,
doing anything soon, so
Right.
we'll wait.
And he does have everything we'd want on the plan. He's got a roof, dry well, there's a construction entrance, there's the stockpile,
yeah,
so.
No, the plan looks great, I
just curious, why would you put a structure all the way over there with your house on the far end of the boomerang?
Well, because to try to build something in the back of my house, I'll be up against near where the vernal pool is, and my house is on septic. This is, when this road was put in and when my house was built and the lot was created, they left the connections there for cable, for electric, and for septic and water. And I don't have any septic on the other side.
Looks like you're building a man town over there, far away from the house.
Yeah, my wife is going to be on the other side. I'll be able to leave in the morning, and I'll go to work every day.
This is not lost on me, I see what you're doing.
All right, so we need to continue
So
To review the delineation,
to review the
yes.
delineation.
So Deb moved.
We have motion and a,
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous.
So we'll continue to the 25th of March, and then if it's not capable, we'll go to
Yeah,
the
well, you
April 11th.
you just let me know, right?
Okay.
And that way, if we have to continue, we'll continue again.
So I
Okay?
guess file.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. It looks like one of those stealth bombers, doesn't it?
I know. An engineering feat.
Yeah.
Jack called it a boomerang.
Well, you could call it a boomerang, too. To me, it looks like one of those stealth fighters.
Looks like you walked past that. That's good.
I don't know, what can I tell you? I see things differently.
I know.
Next one is a conservation restriction for Academy Road.
So Nellie, who is coming with the original copies of this, is not here, so I suggest we table this for a few minutes.
So the next one is a violation letter for 1116 Great Pond Road.
Yep, so this is a continuation of a matter we discussed a few weeks ago. And I think the enforcement order required that the applicant produce a planting plan. So what you see in front of you is that planting plan. It follows a 100-foot area, 100-foot wide area along the edge of the pond. Yes, I could use a copy for the file. Thank you. So I'm noting, we did issue the owners a violation letter, but we did not issue an enforcement order, so despite my recommendations, if you're all set with the plan, then we will need to issue them an enforcement order to actually do the work.
Jen, I guess I'm going to refer to you, and you tell me, are you all set?
Okay.
Are
So
you
yes,
all-
I like the plan.
Okay.
I think they're proposing some probably likely boulder monuments to monument the area.
Okay.
They are proposing to keep a small, 3 to 4 foot wide path, I would guess, down to the water. I recommended that just so that they're not tromping through the restoration area all over the place.
Okay.
And I mean, they didn't necessarily disturb 100 feet from the lake, but they're providing 100 feet of planting from the lake. I have the photos from the last time, but it's mostly shrub, a little bit of herbaceous planting. I mean, I think most of the herbaceous will come back on its own. They did remove some trees. The majority of them, as you recall, were some type of snag or some other, but there are plenty of trees still left in the area. There's one plant on there that is not native. It's snowberry. It's native to maybe some, in 2 counties in Massachusetts, but not this one, so we should probably substitute that with something else. But we did, in the write-up, there is a condition that, some substitutions can be made. And then a condition for monitoring, I told him, the standard is 2, but depending on what you want to.
On the extra guidelines here that I typed out and I handed out to the panel, I noted that down there. Last item, actually, that AC Landscaping will cooperate with the board to monitor the project as long as it requires. After the planting is done, then I'll take on, my responsibility to make sure that it's watered and nurtured so that all plants and anything that is planted and done will be as healthy as possible.
Thanks, Andy. You all set up?
All set.
I just have two questions. We talked about the path and regulating the width. I don't know, I'm not familiar with the site, so
I would just say 3 to 4 foot width, then they can vary it.
I just want to have it on the plan so the 4-foot walkway doesn't turn into a 10-foot.
Oh, sure.
You know what I'm saying?
And that, again, and without any total detail on the pathway, we're not looking to cement in any pavers or anything like that. It's going to be a simple pathway.
Fine, but I'm saying sometimes a walk turns into a roadway if we don't specify that we want no more than 4 feet or.
Sure. Well, I'll put down 4 feet on the plan.
All right.
It'd be good to define the surface, too.
Grass, she's saying.
Same grass. They're not doing anything.
Grass.
Also, and just on this plan here, you have all the planting plans, and then it's got like a horseshoe with like where it says water line, but there's a gap. What's going in there? Are you leaving that open or?
Well, it's kind of the area on the shoreline.
Yeah.
That's an area where the water, where it's high water.
Okay.
That the water comes up and covers that area.
Okay.
So that's why we had to leave a little buffer zone in there.
Okay.
Because we're not going to want to plant anything where, when the water gets high, it's going to cover the plants.
I understand. Like I said, I just wanted to clarify it because
Sure.
it seems like, like it's going to be like.
It's kind of,
picnic area.
it's kind of like a rocky area down there. It's filled with pebbles and rocks and stuff, so
Okay.
water's high, it covers it. When the water's lower, it's,
And Jen said you're going to leave Gilligan's Island alone. You're not going to do anything with Gilligan's Island.
exactly, yeah. I would like to, if there's no, any more, is there any more questions at all?
No.
I just want, the area we're talking about, the little area of the water line,
Yeah.
was there ever any evidence of speckled alder in there previously? That's a pretty typical area for speckled, no alders?
No,
They like the water.
they're more of a stream side typically. I mean, they will grow, but
Okay, but there was none?
no,
Okay.
no alder. Mostly red maple, dogwood, winterberry, and that's what they're proposing to put back.
Perfect. Thank you.
The markers, what are they going to be? Are they going to be on trees or what?
The markers I'm going to purchase, I guess, from
Yep.
the town, and yes, I can put those in where there are trees that are in good locations. We can put the markers on the trees. If need be, I can put a stake in the ground or of some sort, something that's appealing to the eye.
Okay.
Because we don't want to overstake this place.
I think we'd prefer trees usually, right?
Yeah,
If you want them in trees, there's enough trees around. I can find enough trees.
there might be 100 feet from the bank at some point, so it's not going to be trees. So we had talked about maybe a boulder or whatever's amenable to them. I just know as you're towards the Brooks property and the stone wall, there's a pretty good buffer and there's trees, but as you move to the other side, there's more shrubs and scrub, I think.
Correct.
Yeah.
There are some trees that are closer in an area that wasn't
They would be
disturbed,
much
but-
closer to the water than the 100 feet.
You want to
Yeah, we can field determine.
yeah, you can feel it. You can feel
So
it.
the commission, because the mechanism to do the work when it's not a permitted project is an enforcement order, so you'll actually get a form kind of telling you to do this, and it'll list out your conditions. But I guess we usually put a time frame on that, so when would you anticipate you would have the work done?
Well, okay, and that was in my guidelines as well. Why don't I just go to the guidelines real quickly? First, I say AC Landscaping will install the measurement markers, which identifies 100 feet setback zone for the no disturb areas. Along with that, we'll install 4 markers that will be, I will get from the town, that will, I think they say wetland area, do not disturb area, but we'll install those 4 signs or markers, as you might say. As we had talked about the other day, Jennifer, I put down planting of the new material will be complete by June 15th of 2015. AC Landscaping will water and maintain the plants to ensure the healthy growth. When installing the plants, this is the one variable, there may be some variations in some of the placings due to existing tree stumps and roots. So it may be a little bit different than what the plan is saying right here, but only because there's a tree stump right there. We'll just, place the plants that are, give it the best place for planting and survival. And depending on their availability, there may be maybe a substitution for some of the plants if they're not in stock or available. So we're going to stay really close to this plan. If we can get everything in stock through the nurseries, we'll just go with everything that's on the plan. But I will double check with Jennifer if we have to do any substitutions, if nothing's available, or if some things aren't available.
But when you say installing plants with some variation due to existing tree stumps and roots, you're not going to be doing any removal of stumps and roots?
No.
Okay.
No. We'll just...
Move the plant.
I just want to be clear that if you can look at this plan and say, well, on the plan, the plants are supposed to be planted here, but when we go to do the actual planting, I mean, we may have to move it around a little bit because of the existing stump or some roots from some of the trees.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And then, again, I'll cooperate with the board, however long it takes to monitor the project and to make sure that everybody's happy.
Okay, thank you.
I just have one more question. Are you proposing automatic sprinklers for this
No.
area?
No.
Good.
It's way too far away from the house, and no, I'll have to do it by hand.
I agree. All right, good.
All right?
Thank you.
So we need a enforcement order.
Motion to issue an enforcement order with the conditions as described.
I'll move it.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. Thank you.
I'd like to close out by just saying thank you very much. I myself and my company, I apologize for any wrongdoing to the panel. I certainly didn't mean to do anything intently or to do any damage. It is certainly not my client's issue at all. It was all myself.
It's fine, so long as you recognize it, everybody recognize it.
So I'm not going to put myself in this position again. I'll be more aware from here on in. I apologize again.
We have a good memory.
Yeah. I have a good memory, too.
Listen, you can come and visit us anytime. There's no extra charge.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Thanks, Ann.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.
So Nelly's here.
Okay,
Go back to
so
the...
we're going back to Academy Road.
I guess, then I'll just start.
I'll send you something.
Okay.
I can email it to you.
Okay, and then as time goes on, then I'll just start to ID.
You'll let me know when you want to start.
We'll get rolling when we can.
Great.
Okay.
Andy, if you want an extra plan back for yourself, no problem, take that back.
All right.
And thanks again.
You're very welcome.
So tonight, I know in the past, we've discussed the conservation restriction. Jack and I have emailed back and forth quite a bit about it. Town council has been involved and reviewed everything. And I think we are finally ready to accept this restriction. The vote tonight needs to be to, I don't really know how to, I guess, to accept and sign the conservation restriction, because the restriction will be, we will be the holders of the restriction. But the second piece of that is we also need to vote to sign the purchase and sale agreement as well. Anything else to add, Nellie? Is that basically it?
Why do we have to sign the purchase and sale? Does the town own the property right now?
We are purchasing the restriction, so we are paying for that. It's CPA funded,
Oh, right.
so we are buying the rights, the development rights to the property, subject to the restriction. Legally, I don't know why we have to sign it, but we're being asked to sign it, so. That's what the lawyers are for.
Do we get any of the things we asked for?
Yep, so of the things we discussed, that one section of the property that was, for the owner's use, and no one could go on it, that is now subject to a separate easement. And the easement has been recognized in the document, subject to historic I don't know, but they did take, there isn't that language in there about that piece that no one can go on anymore.
That's correct.
That's out.
Right.
The fence that encroached on there's now a legal document, an agreement between the owners and the abutter about where the fence encroached on the property. We got language in there about mowing the fields at a time that's appropriate for ground nesting birds. The applicant is doing the baseline monitoring. I'm sorry, the grantor is doing the baseline monitoring report. I spoke to the company that's the landscape design company who's working with Mary Rimmer from Rimmer Environmental on the baseline documentation. So that won't be done before the restriction, but that's coming as well.
Is it pretty well along?
It is pretty well along. They've done their photo documentation, they have their survey plans, they'll have, ultimately the restriction will become part of it. They're just waiting for the snow to melt so Mary can do some kind of inventory of plants and animals and things.
Great. I guess we gave up on the trimming of the tree.
The trimming of the trees is in there, but it's, the language is a little quieter about that now.
Questions? Motion?
All right, so just, why don't you list the motions that you want again?
A motion to accept and sign the purchase and sale, and accept and sign the conservation restriction.
One motion for both actions?
No, I do them separately.
All right, so I will be glad to move both motions, as you just read.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous.
And I think if we could sign those now, because then we can give, oh, no, actually Donna needs to.
No,
We have the PNS, you have the conservation restriction.
you have the, I revised it, right?
Well, it's basically, you just updated the exhibits to so that they're marked, which exhibit they are, what page number they are, like the date, otherwise.
Oh, the date, you said,
You know what, I have to admit, I printed this out 3 times today, and I picked up the wrong 2014, but I just penciled it in, it'll be fine.
Okay, yeah.
It'll be fine.
and
I'm
so,
looking at, there's 2 dates. Sorry.
that's okay, but we'll sign and we'll forward them to the Board of Selectmen, because Donna will need to notarize them tomorrow.
So Jen, just a real quick question while you guys are discussing this. The motions have been voted on and done.
Yes.
The actual signing doesn't actually have to take place on the record, correct? We can.
No, we can sign. For some reason, I thought you were going to take them, but I can forward them to the
Well,
board.
I can leave you the whole thing.
Yep.
I have to come back to see the selectmen on the 23rd.
And I will send them to the selectmen.
Okay, so you can send them in advance. This is my own information. Grant for it.
We can gladly sign them for you tonight. I just wanted to see if we had to keep the meeting open to do it, or if we could.
No, we're good. But we do have a decision to review. So.
We have a decision. So can we?
I can just take that from you and we'll sign it.
Right, that's what I'm trying to find out. I don't know if we are.
Now for the whole thing.
I'm trying to help you, Mr. Chairman.
The documents aren't in line.
No, I think you don't want me to give it to the Board of Selectmen?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to come to their meeting. Okay.
I got it.
The only thing that really matters in terms of original is the grant for signatures.
Right.
Because the rest is just printout.
Do you want to hold on to that page then, or?
Well, no, you can, I couldn't see what he
I feel like we can,
See, this is what I'm saying.
we can handle it.
I was trying to get us.
Wake me up when I go.
So,
Okay, but we're not signing that. Okay, we're good.
These are just marks for us to remember what to fill in. But
Okay. The blue is the signature. Yep, on the North Andover Conservation Commission 2015. This should be before, right?
Donna's got to get this straight.
I feel very secure now. Are we good? No.
We're missing the select year, 60.
No, and it's the same thing.
That's fine. I'm just saying.
Right, and that, that's, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We'll sign both when we give our documents.
Thank you, sorry, I was like.
No, no worries, we're still here.
We're still here? Are we good?
so we're back.
We're back.
Okay, good.
All right, so next is the bylaw revisions, which we're not going to address.
Yeah, I just need you to continue it to the 25th, but I think we should just keep approving the pieces as we do it. So next time, I'm going to bring you the things we've already discussed and we've been working with, which is that people only need to submit 2 hard copies and an electronic copy. That we revised the delineation review fee, so beyond your first 100 feet, you pay a fee about delineation. And we've also revised all our checklists and that sort of thing too, so we'll approve those next meeting. So just continue to the 25th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Deb and Al.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
All right, and we've already done our discussion, so the GLSD decision is the only thing that remains. So this was a little difficult to write in that it's only a locally jurisdictional. The state also has given exemptions for maintenance of sewer lines in their most recent draft. So I cut out anything that referenced just the state and put the exemption in the findings. I don't think Condition 30 should stay. Any future project proposing a wetland crossing should not be qualified as a limited project because sewer lines cross wetlands and they need to be limited projects, so I think that would be a bad thing to do to them.
You don't feel that should be in there?
No. I mean, if they needed to relocate the sewer line or do some kind of, they would need and want their limited project status to impact wetlands. I mean, I could see if someone was doing a crossing to access a piece of upland and we wanted to limit them to that one crossing, but in the location where the sewer is, there's no choice but to be in wetland, so. 31 is just the resource areas they're working in. 32, I mean, says there's a 25 and a 50, and qualifies it that shall be established from the edge of adjacent wetland except as approved under the waiver. Oh, so we should have done this before, but we do need to vote and approve those. They requested a waiver of 5.1 and 5.3. Because they are working in resource area.
Okay.
That wasn't done as part of the normal?
No, we just closed and issued, because no one was here, so.
Oh, we just did that
I don't know if you
tonight.
want to reopen the hearing, or if you want to just vote it. It's up to you.
What needs to,
We just have to vote the waiver.
We have to approve the waiver for the
Yeah, I
project. We
just-
just need to reopen it.
Well, there's nobody here.
10 seconds.
yeah, there's no objection to reopening and voting.
Okay.
All right. So are we opening the hearing?
I move that we reopen NACC number 137 for the purpose of considering potential waivers.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous.
So
Waiver
they requested a waivers of sections 5.1, the 25-foot no disturb, and 5.3, the work and resource area.
I move that we approve both waivers as stated.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That's unanimous.
And then do we have to revote to close an issue?
I move that we reclose.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous.
Okay. So, for the bond, I put 5,000. They're not actually altering any land, they're just conducting maintenance. I was proposing that we delete the marking of the 25 and the 50. The 25 and the 50 isn't on their property or their easement, so. That's okay.
So we're deleting 47?
Right, their easement's only a 20-foot wide or
Yeah, yeah.
piece, so they can't go marking 25 feet from the edge of it.
You're right, this is a weird one.
Yeah, that wouldn't work. There's no stockpiling or any materials allowed in the resource areas, no truck washing, no waste. Then the perpetual conditions get a little weird too, but, you know, no spilling of fuels, no storage of fuels. You know, fertilizers and, I don't know if we need to keep that in there, but I guess it doesn't hurt anything. I don't think they're going to be fertilizing the,
If it doesn't hurt anyone.
yeah. That's,
not
if Sean were here, that's what he would say.
No harm.
Yep, no dumping, stabilization required. They're not required to use erosion controls, but I left the erosion control condition in there and just said that, I'm sorry, it's back a ways, 42, I just used the last half of our standard condition, which is all erosion prevention and sedimentation found necessary during construction shall be implemented. And no as-built, they're not building anything, so I just said a statement from the project wetland scientist certifying that the work has been conducted as shown on the plans and documents referenced. And then they do have a perpetual O&M plan, which allows them to do yearly maintenance, which they won't need to file for again if they keep it up.
Why would we not need an as-built on this?
They're not built, they're just removing vegetation that's grown in over the sewer lines. So they didn't survey that vegetation to begin with, so there's nothing to survey afterwards.
Is there an as-built on the sewer line?
We have I think submitted with the filing was the easement plan showing their limit of work.
Somewhere, we know where it is.
Right. Oh, and that was I put in a condition that prior to the start of construction, they need to flag the easement so that they're not just working wherever they feel like it, they're working within a designated area.
I appreciate that. I just want to make sure that somewhere in our record,
We have the record easement
we know
plan.
where it actually is.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Jen, the only thing we talked about this at some point, that no machinery was going to be used, and they said they weren't going to need
No,
it.
they have the option to use a small tracked vehicle, and they're going to bring a chipper down there. But I think I put it in the pre-construction condition.
Where are the chips going? Which way are they aiming? Which way are they aiming the chipper?
It says that they're not allowed to stockpile any material on site.
I know, are the chips going in the river?
I would hope not, but they're being monitored.
Okay.
So we have where did I put it?
I didn't see it.
No, it's in here.
I saw a condition.
Just see it all now.
I know where it is. It's, prior to any work commencing on site, the applicant shall submit to the NACC for approval a detailed and dated construction sequence. At that time, the contractor should identify what equipment will be used to conduct the work.
Okay.
I can bold that if you want it to stand out.
No, with respect to the equipment that identified, at some point, refueling will be necessary. Are we going to regulate a refueling?
I think we
area?
say no refueling in
Well,
the,
they're going to have to, that's impractical. They're going to have to refuel. Whatever they use is
with
going to have to
with a
refuel.
Bobcat? I don't think they're not proposing to bring a backhoe or anything down there.
Well, Bobcats burn it too, you know.
They
I
can
would think they could take that away.
Well, then we should say that.
Okay, no refueling and
It's either gonna be a Bobcat or a little.
But whatever it is, I mean, they could have
no
any number of
refueling on
machines,
site.
any number of
They
machineries.
can go back
just-
to the street or
Yeah, no
whatever.
refueling on site, just has to be there, otherwise
Okay.
it'll be done there.
Will do.
It's either gonna be a Bobcat or a mini excavator. They're not gonna do it by hand.
Well, mostly.
No, they definitely, not with 15 years of inactivity, there's gonna be a lot of machinery.
No, they're not removing any no big trees.
It's still not doing it by hand.
Saplings,
It's still
all
not doing it by
saplings.
hand. The chipper, there's gonna be a chipper down there.
They gotta get it down there somehow.
The chipper's gonna run,
Right.
you know, I mean, everything needs to be refueled, so,
No refueling. Got
yeah,
it.
just make it real
You're gonna
clear.
have a pre-construction meeting anyways.
We will.
So they have the contract to give you a list of equipment that's gonna be there.
Yep, that's what was in that
It's a
condition.
narrow path. I remember the pictures they showed. It's pretty narrow.
Well, the main truck where the granite is, you could drive a car on it.
Yeah,
Well,
but
that's what I mean. But
their,
that's about as wide as it gets.
Yeah,
their limit's 15 feet.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so motion to approve as amended?
Any more questions?
No questions, sir.
Motion.
Move that we approve the amended order of conditions.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous.